Very good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Monday's edition of Quick Morning. I'm Samishta Srivastava. Let's get started first up with the top stories in this segment. Prime Minister Modi will visit Rajasthan and Haryana today. In Rajasthan, the Prime Minister is set to inaugurate the Rising Rajasthan Global Investment Summit 2024 at the Jaipur Exhibition and Convention Centre at 10:30 a.m. The summit themed Replete, Responsibility Ready will feature sectoral sessions on water security, sustainable mining and women-led startups among others with participation from more than 32 countries. The Prime Minister will then travel to Panipat, Haryana, where the Prime Minister will inaugurate the LIC Bima Sakhi Yojana to empower women with financial literacy and insurance awareness. He will also lay the foundation stone for the main campus of Maharana Pratap Horticultural University in Panipat, which would cost over 700 crore rupees and focus on crop diversification and horticulture research. Top Court has already given several orders regarding the Manipur violence, in which a committee of 3 former judges of the High Court has been formed under the chairmanship of Justice Geeta Mittal to investigate the issues related to the violence case and for humanitarian facilities. This committee will look into matters apart from CBI and police investigation. This committee will also monitor crimes related to women and other humanitarian matters and facilities as well. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is expected to raise with Bangladesh India's concerns over attacks on Hindus and other minorities as he embarks on a day-long visit to Bangladesh in the first high-level trip from India after a massive uprising ended deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's 15-year rule in August. Foreign Secretary is scheduled to hold wide-ranging talks with his Bangladeshi counterpart and meet the country's de facto Foreign Minister Mohammad Tawheed Hussain. West Bengal BJP Chief Sukanta Majumdar condemned the Sandesh Khali incident where an 18-year-old girl was raped and murdered. Majumdar slammed West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, stating that her government has failed to ensure the safety of women in the state. Majumdar even criticized Mamata Banerjee's attempts to deny the incident, saying that her government is more interested in saving the culprits than punishing them. The Sandesh Khali incident sparked widespread outrage, with the BJP and other opposition parties demanding justice for the victim and her kid.
बंगाल में महिलाओं की सुरक्षा बोल के कोई चीज ही नहीं है और संदेश खाली और उसके बाद जयनगर में घटनाओं को ममता बनर्जी ने जिस तरीके से पॉलिटिकली उसको डिनाई करने की कोशिश की, उससे पूरे जो ताकते हैं, जो ऐसी काम करते हैं, जो दुष्ट लोग हैं, उसमें और भी एंथुसिज्म बढ़ गया है और उसमें वो साहस लेके एक के बाद एक घटना घटा रही है.
Meanwhile, protests were held in various parts of West Bengal on Sunday over the alleged atrocities on Hindu minorities in Bangladesh. Hundreds of people joined the protest rallies that were organized by Hindu groups calling for immediate release of Hindu leader Chinmay Krishna Das. At the demonstration outside the Salt Lake International Bus Terminus, protesters even torched objects from Bangladesh. They called for a boycott of Bangladeshi goods, warning that Indians should remain silent if the disrespect towards the tricolour and attacks on Hindus continues in Bangladesh. The Bar Council of India on Sunday directed the immediate removal of Advocate Sanjeev Nasair from his position as Vice President Chairman of the Bar Council of Delhi. Additionally, the Secretary of the Bar Council has been instructed to request an investigation by the CBI into the authenticity of Nasair's qualification, who heads the legal cell of the Aam Aadmi Party and faces scrutiny over these allegations. The Bar Council of India, in its meeting that was held on 7th of December, has resolved to take immediate and decisive action in the matter that concerns allegations of irregularities in the LLB degree issued to Sanjeev Nasair.
बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया का नोटिस मेरे को कोई नहीं मिला है, कोई ऑर्डर नहीं मिला है, लेकिन प्रेस के माध्यम से एक सोशल मीडिया से मेरे को पता चला कि एक ऐसा ऑर्डर निकाला है बार काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया ने, जिसने मेरे को जो इलेक्टेड पद है मेरा बार काउंसिल ऑफ दिल्ली का वाइस चेयरमैन पिछले 2 साल से, उससे मेरे को हटाया गया है और कहा गया है कि क्योंकि मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी जो कि 1988 में एक डिग्री इशू की थी यूनिवर्सिटी ने, जिसके खिलाफ एक पिटीशन डली थी हाई कोर्ट में, और हाई कोर्ट ने 12 अगस्त 2024 को उसको डिसमिस कर दिया था, निरस्त कर दिया था।
3 persons associated with the film theatre were arrested on Sunday in connection with a case that was registered with the death of a woman as a result of this jostled at the theatre during the premiere show of actor Allu Arjun's Pushpa 2. The 35-year-old woman died and her 8-year-old son has been hospitalized in the incident, which took place on 4th of December night when a large number of fans thronged the Sandhya Theatre to have a glimpse of the actor. The city police have registered a case against Allu Arjun, his security team and the theatre management under various sections at the police station that was based on a complaint that was lodged by the deceased kin.
In the course of investigation, today we arrested 3 persons, lower balcony and upper balcony manager. We are arrested and produced before the Honorable Court. Honorable Court sent them to judicial custody. They are in now Chanchalguda jail.
9 absent legislators are set to take their oath after 105 members, including key opposition leaders, were sworn in during the second day of Maharashtra's newly constituted Legislative Assembly session on Sunday. The oath-taking ceremony, part of special 3-day session, saw a significant turnout through several opposition members. Though several of the opposition members had boycotted the event on Saturday, citing concerns over alleged misuse of electronic voting machine in the recent state election, the boycott was led by prominent leaders such as Nana Patole, Vijay Wadatiwad and Anmit Deshmukh, among others. Meanwhile, Aditya Thackeray from Shiv Sena UBT also did not take oath on day one. However, these leaders took oath on Sunday as the House reconvened on the first day of the special session. A total of 173 MLAs took their oath. The absence of the 9 legislators was noted and the oath taking has now been scheduled for today.
महाराष्ट्र की जनता को आज भी लगती कि ये जो सरकार अभी बनी है, ये सरकार हमारे वोटों से नहीं बनी है। ये महाराष्ट्र की जनता की भावना है। अपोजिशन आज कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं, जो सत्ता में बैठे लोग हैं, सत्ता का मस्ती तो आया है, उनको लोकतंत्र का लेना देना नहीं है। और सबसे बड़ा तो आपने उनका जो वोट सेरेमनी हुई है मुख्यमंत्री की, तो उसमें गवर्नर का सबसे बड़ा रोल होता है। तो उनके बीजेपी के पार्टी का था वो प्रोग्राम, राज्याभिषेक था, वोट का कार्यक्रम नहीं था। तो क्या लोकतंत्र को ये लोग एक्सेप्ट करते हैं? क्यों उसके बारे में बात नहीं करते?
4 children and a woman were rescued after a massive fire broke out in a plastic factory at Gwalior's Barghata industrial area on Sunday night. Over 24 fire tenders were rushed to the spot in the Jhansi Road police station area upon receiving information about the fire incident around 9:15 p.m. However, no casualties have been reported in this incident. The officials from district administration and municipal corporations were on the spot.
ये बाराघाटा विक्की फैक्ट्री के आगे एक इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया है, उसमें ये क्या नाम मुस्कान प्लास्टिक फैक्ट्री है और इसमें प्लास्टिक का सामान आता है कबाड़े टाइप का, उसका सेग्रीगेट करके रिसाइकिल करने के लिए यहाँ से भेजा जाता है। हाँ, इसमें करीब 4 बच्चे, एक महिला फंसी हुई थी, वो सुरक्षित निकाल लिए हैं, किसी तरह कोई घटना नहीं हुई।
And moving on to our business segment, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has been holding pre-budget consultations with top economists and key stakeholders. All those details in this segment. In a key pre-budget consultation meeting at the Finance Ministry, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman assured farmers of significant relief measures, including a proposal to exempt agriculture inputs such as seeds, fertilizers, pesticides and farming equipment from goods and services tax. Dharmendra Malik, who's the national spokesperson for Bharatiya Kisan Union, represented the farmers' concerns, stressing the need to revise the minimum support price to 1.5 times the cost of production. The union also called for extending the MSP scheme to cover more crops, fruits, vegetables, milk and honey, and urged for the introduction of market intervention schemes for crops without MSP. Additional demands included providing zero premium insurance under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana for small farmers, banning imports priced below the MSP, increasing Prime Minister Kisan support to 12,000 rupees annually, and improving agricultural infrastructure with better storage, grading and market access. The union also suggested greater transparency in pricing agricultural equipment. Ahead of Budget 2025-2026, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held a crucial pre-budget consultation meet with leading economists to discuss key reforms and policy changes. During the 2-hour session, the focus was on addressing India's trade deficit with China, particularly by strengthening industrial policies and expanding the production-linked incentive, the PLI scheme. Economists also called for easing fiscal constraint to allocate more resources for critical sectors like infrastructure and healthcare. The meeting underscored the need for tax reforms, including reducing personal income tax and shifting reliance from indirect taxes. Other priorities even included bolstering manufacturing policies, encouraging private sector investment and accelerating renewable energy transition through fiscal incentives. The discussion set the stage for 2025 budget that has a key priority of fostering long-term economic growth. In a crucial meet that was held on Saturday, Reserve Bank of India Governor Shakti Kanta Das met Finance Minister Sitharaman just a day after the central bank's bi-monthly monetary policy announcement. The discussion comes at a significant time as Das extended 3-year tenure as RBI governor is set to end on 10th of December. The meeting is believed to have focused on the current economic situation, particularly the ongoing challenges of GDP growth slowdown, inflation management amid concerns over India's economic outlook. SBI Research has forecasted that the Reserve Bank of India will likely reduce the repo rate by cumulative 70 basis points in February next year. The report that has been authored by the Group Chief Economic Advisor at SBI asserted that rupee's current weakness against the US dollar would not significantly influence the RBI's decision, unlike in 2018 when the central bank refrained from raising rates despite the rupee's depreciation. The forecast comes after the RBI's recent decision to keep the repo rate unchanged at 6.5% for the 11th consecutive time. Notably, this decision was not unanimous, with 2 newly inducted members voting for a 25 basis point reduction. The RBI also reaffirmed its neutral stance on monetary policy, focusing on aligning inflation with its target while supporting economic growth in the country. Farmers across India must complete a newly mandated farmer registration process to ensure that they receive the 19th installment of 2,000 rupees under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme, scheduled for release in early next 2025. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare has even updated eligibility requirements, making registration a key step for scheduled benefits. Farmers can now register at Jan Suvidha Kendras or village level campus to verify eligibility. They can even check the beneficiary list on the official PM Kisan website. The installment disbursed every 4 years, while direct benefit transfer marks a vital part of ongoing government support for the agriculture community. Now, one of the top global stories that we've been tracking is the fall of the Assad government. Reports suggest that the ousted president, is currently in Moscow. More on that in the segment. South Korea's opposition leader said on Sunday that his party will push for a second vote on a motion to impeach President Yoon Suk Yeol. The head of main opposition Democratic Party said that the party will proceed with its plan to get the parliamentarians' vote on the impeachment motion again on Saturday, December 14th. Lee's remarks come a day after Yoon avoided an opposition-led bid to impeach him for sending heavily armed soldiers into Seoul's streets with a baffling declaration of martial law that reminded many of the country's past military-backed dictatorships, while the tussle for impeachment was partially evaded by Yoon's party members who boycotted a floor test on Saturday to prevent two-thirds majority needed in order to suspend his presidential powers. His fate, however, remains in a precarious position. Bashar al-Assad has resigned from the post of president of Syria and left the country. Russia has confirmed the development on Sunday after the rebels toppled the Assad's long regime in a week-long offensive. Moscow said that Assad left the position after talks with sides involved in the conflict also agreed to transfer power peacefully to the rebels. The ministry added that Russia did not participate in these negotiations. Syrian opposition fighters have declared that the country has been liberated from the stormed capital city, Damascus. It has been said that Assad left on a private plane that took off from Damascus International Airport on Saturday night without specifying where he is headed. However, reports suggest that he's currently in Moscow. Syrians walked around the halls of Presidential Palace Sunday after the fall of the government earlier in the day, bringing an end to 50-year rule of Assad family after a sudden rebel offensive sprinted across government-held territory and entered the capital in 10 days. Crowds even gathered in Syria's Damascus on Sunday to celebrate the fall of Assad government with chants, prayers and occasional gunfire after opposition fighters entered the capital following a stunning advance. The jubilant scenes came after Syrian opposition fighters entered Damascus following an advance through the country. However, there was no immediate official announcement from the Syrian government around Assad's whereabouts that still remain largely unknown. The leader of the far-right Alliance for the Unity of Romanians, George Simeon, condemned the Constitutional Court's decision to annul Romania's presidential elections, calling it an attack on democracy. The country's ruling followed allegations of Russian interference and illegal campaign practices, including use of artificial intelligence and undeclared funding to boost far-right candidate Calin Gorsecu. The cancellation has sparked controversy, with Simeon urging President Klaus to uphold the constitution. New election dates are set to be announced soon. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that his meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, US President-elect Donald Trump, was constructive. Zelensky, Macron and Trump held trilateral talks before they attended the grand reopening ceremony of the cathedral. Speaking to reporters, Zelensky said that they discussed prospects for peace in Kiev's ongoing war with Russia. Macron and leaders across Europe are now trying to persuade the president-elect to maintain support for Ukraine in his defense against Russia's invasion. As per reports, Trump spent about 90 minutes inside, meeting first with Macron before they were joined by Zelensky for about 35 minutes. The United States will provide nearly $1 billion more in longer-term weapons support to Ukraine, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said. As the Biden administration rushes to spend all the congressional-approved money it has left to bolster Kiev before President-elect Donald Trump takes office next month, the latest package will include more drones and munitions for the mobility artillery rocket systems that the U.S. has provided. With questions about whether Trump will maintain military support to Ukraine, the Biden administration has been trying to spend every dollar remaining from a massive foreign aid bill passed earlier this year to put Ukraine in the strongest position possible.
And our friends have become the arsenal of Ukrainian democracy. The United States has delivered 2 Patriot batteries, 24 HIMARS rocket systems, thousands of armored vehicles, and millions of rounds of artillery ammunition. We've seen strong bipartisan support for Ukraine from Leader McConnell and other leaders in both parties. And I'm proud to announce today the commitment of a new Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative package worth nearly $1 billion.
Meanwhile, Russia has responded cautiously to US President-elect Donald Trump's call for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine, with Kremlin spokesman Peskov stating that Moscow has carefully read Trump's comments and reaffirmed Russia's openness to peace talks. Peskov emphasized that President Putin has long supported negotiations and peace initiatives, but suggested that Ukraine's leadership should take the first step by resuming dialogue in line with previous agreements. The remarks come amid escalating casualties and diplomatic discussions, including a recent meeting between Ukrainian President Zelensky and French President Emmanuel Macron. Voters have dejected the presidential election result, need to find a way to give back and remain involved. Bill and Hillary Rodham Clinton said on Saturday as they celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Clinton Presidential Library. The former president even urged audience members in a packed theater to remain engaged and find ways to communicate with those they disagree with despite a divisive political time. The two spoke about a month after former President Donald Trump's win over Vice President Kamala Harris in the presidential election. US President.
Very challenging times. We know that there'll be a lot of decisions being made in the next couple of years that we will certainly not agree with, and that we think are decided wrongly. And so, in addition to, staying involved and staying aware, it's important to find something that makes you feel good about the day.
US President Joe Biden called the sudden collapse of Assad's government in Syria a fundamental act of justice after years of repression, but warned it also marks a moment of risk and uncertainty for the Middle East. Speaking from the White House on Sunday, Biden acknowledged that US is unsure of Assad's whereabouts. Though reports suggested that he may have fled to Moscow, Biden credited the efforts of the US and its allies in weakening Assad's key backers, Russia, Iran and Hezbollah. His remarks come as jubilant crowds filled central Damascus, celebrating the fall of Assad's regime, with some ransacking the presidential palace as well.
As we all turn to the question of what comes next, the United States will work with our partners and the stakeholders in Syria to help them seize an opportunity to manage the risk. You know, for years, the main backers of Assad have been Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia. But over the last week, their support collapsed, all three of them, because all three of them are far weaker today than they were when I took office. And let's remember why. After Hamas attacked Israel on October the 7th, 2023, when much of the world responded with horror, Iran and its proxies chose to launch a multi-front war against Israel.
Welcome back. You're watching Quick Morning. Let's now get started with all the stories that you're tracking from the world of sports. Grandmaster D. Gukesh made a huge stride forward towards becoming the youngest ever world champion, defeating Ding Liren of China in the 11th game of the World Chess Championship. With just 3 games to come, Gukesh took the lead for the first time in the match, with scoreline now reading 6-5 in favour of the 18-year-old Indian. History is now on Gukesh's side, as no challenger in modern chess has ever scored a win after being tied 5-5 after the 10th game. India football team will begin its preparation for the AFC Asian Cup 2027 qualifiers with the national camp from 14th of March, 2 days after the last league match of the Indian Super League. On the eve of the draw, India coach Marquis, who is yet to taste success in the 4 matches after taking over from Igor, gave the proposal for a longer camp to the All India Football Federation President Kalyan Chaubey. Batting legend Sunil Gavaskar has urged India not to waste time in their hotel rooms after the early finish of the pink ball test, but utilize the 2 extra days by sweating it out in the training so they can bounce back in the 3rd match. India were thoroughly exposed in their did not perform well in the 10-wicket loss in the 2nd test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, with the match ending in less than 2.5 days as Australia bounced back to level the 5-game series by 1-1. Australia women dished out a comprehensive performance in the 2nd ODI of the ongoing 3-match series to hammer India by 122 runs at Alan Border Field. Australia have now taken an unassailable 2-0 lead in the series. The win was set up beautifully by Georgia Wall and Elise Perry, who scored centuries and dominated India's bowling attack. The batters could not capitalize on the good job done by the bowlers as India suffered a massive 59-run defeat in Bangladesh in the low-scoring Under-19 Asia Cup title clash. It turned out to be a forgettable day for Indian cricket as each of the 3 national team seniors men's, women's and Under-19 men's sides suffered humiliating defeats in their respective matches, while Rohit Sharma-led side suffered a 10-wicket defeat against Australia in the 2nd test of the 5-match Border Gavaskar Trophy. The Indian women lost by a huge 122 runs against Australia in the 2nd ODI to hand their rivals a 2-0 lead in the 3-game series in Brisbane. The Border Gavaskar Trophy is now levelled at 1-1 after India won the series opener in Perth by 295 runs. The 3rd test will be played in Brisbane starting 14th of December. India captain Rohit Sharma opened up a potential return of Mohammad Shami to the Indian team for the ongoing Border Gavaskar Trophy. Shami, who has been out of international action since ODI World Cup 2023, is back in action in the domestic circuit but has not made a national return yet. Australia stormed back into the Border Gavaskar Trophy with a scintillating 10-wicket win The pink ball clash was always going to be a tricky one for the visitors since they have not played one in more than 2.5 years, and underlights the helpful conditions. Australian bowlers proved to be too good for India's failing batting lineup. The loss had serious repercussions on India's position on the World Test Championship points table as two-time finalists dropped a couple of places from the top to the third. Rohit Sharma returned to lead the Indian team in Adelaide after missing the Perth Test, and this was the side's fourth consecutive defeat in the format under him. Rohit now has 4 consecutive defeats as an Indian Test captain. Real Madrid coach Carlo Jude Bellingham was not injured after his midfielder asked to be substituted for what appeared to be a left thigh issue during a 3-0 win. According to his coach, Bellingham would be available when Madrid visits Atlanta on Tuesday in the Champions League. And time to take a look at all that we are tracking from the world of entertainment. Let's get started. Olivia Rodrigo and Lenny Wilson were some of the stars at the Hitmaker celebration in Los Angeles on Saturday. Olivia Rodrigo, a Grammy nominee for Best Song written for visual media, attended the event alongside her producer Daniel Negro, who received the Varieties Producer of the Year award. Lines went around the block on Friday for the second day of the Latin American Film Festival in Cuba's capital, Havana, with an eagerly anticipated Netflix series capturing the imagination. The festival has always been a popular event, providing Cubans with a glimpse into the films made in other countries in the region. However, this year it offered something special in the premiere of the first 2 episodes of the Netflix series based on Gabriel Garcia Marquez' literary masterpiece, which is 100 Years of Solitude. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is set to end. The singer recently performed the final 3 shows as part of her concert training in Vancouver. Swift wrapped up the tour, which started in March 2023 in the Canadian city on Sunday. Taylor Swift continues to make her impact globally as she is among the most streamed artists for the second year in a row. She had more than 26.6 billion streams, followed by The Weeknd and Billie Eilish in the top 5 as per streaming platform Spotify. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of our broadcast. Stay tuned for Live This Morning coming up at 7 a.m.